I can't stand still. I'm so excited. But we gotta wait. Hey garden maters, welcome to Corner Homestead. So today I am extremely excited. I am a girl with a new toy. I just managed to get me a Presto Pressure Canner. Gift cards are a blessing. You can also use it for a pressure cooker, but I bought it for its canning capabilities. And today I am going to be pressure canning some corned beef. Making room in the freezer. Can't wait to get started. So I had 8 briskets in my freezer. As I said, making room, clearing them out. Went ahead and we done cut up 4 of them. Got 4 more to do, but I'm going to start getting the first 7 quarts in the pressure canner and getting them canned up. Excited, can't wait. Let's get started. So here it is in all her glory. Now I have already washed this entire canner. Look how nice and pretty and clean. Oh my goodness, it's beautiful. So, set that there for now. I'm going to get ready and put 3 quarts of water in this. So I've got a little pot here that I'm going to be putting my bands and my lids in just to heat them up once I get that hot enough. Here is the 4 corned beef briskets that we've already cut into cubes. I left all the fat on, took off. If it was a little thick, we pulled it off just a little bit, left a good amount still on it though, because that is the flavor. So these are all in just good sized chunk pieces. All of my jars are clean and ready to go. It's time to get canning. Okay, so the first thing is I'm going to put my rack into the bottom of the canner, because it says not to put your jars onto the bottom. I'm going to add 3 cups. This is where the electric kettle comes in good handy. I'm going to put in 3 quarts of water into the canner, and I'm just going to measure them right into the quart jar. So the electric kettle is great for heating up the water. 3 quarts of hot water into the canner. There's 2 and 3. Also to this canner, I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of white vinegar. Here's the 2nd tablespoon. I have very hard water in this house, so I think it's best to put the vinegar in. Okay, so my jars are cool. They're very well washed, pretty much dry. So I'm just going to start packing in my corned beef. Now I have this tool here. This is from Mad Hungry. It's a spurtle set that I ordered off of QVC a long time ago. This is the smallest that they make. Perfect for pushing the meat down into the jars. We want to get in as much as possible. So again, we just keep pushing it down there and getting it filled up. You want to make sure that there's enough room to cook in there. This meat is going to shrink as it cooks in the canner. I am so excited about this. I just can't wait to see how it turns out. See, that's what's great. It's curved, so it's able to get down there. It's made of silicone, so you don't have to worry about jars cracking or anything like that. That will hold one more. So there we have that jar. I did get this pressure canner at Walmart. Okay, now I'm not going to be putting any seasoning in here. If you wanted, you could put in a teaspoon of salt. Because this is corned beef, it is salty enough. I do not think it's going to need anything. It's best not to put anything in. If you decide it needs something later, when you get it out and use it in its final state, that's when you would add some seasoning. You could also use the seasoning packets that come with it. You could open them, divide it equally into all the jars once you have them filled. Again, I'm not going to do it. I debated, but I'm not going to. We're just going to can this the way it is. You don't put any liquids into it whatsoever because it's going to make its own juices. So you want to take, I have a paper towel that has vinegar on it. You want to go around the edges. Make sure you get everything well cleaned. Cut the grease of the corned beef. If there's anything on here, I always give it extra wipes. We're going to put our lid on and our ring. Finger tight, do not over tighten. It's going in the pressure canner. You have to have room for the steam to expand as it's cooking. So do not over tighten, but you want it tight enough so that it doesn't come off into the canner. Put on our other lid. Finger tight again. And that's it. I'm going to do up the other 5 jars, and then I'll bring you back when I'm putting them in the canner. Okay, so I finished filling the jars out of the 4 briskets of corned beef we cut up, which was about 13.5 pounds total. I managed to get 6 quart jars out of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and process the 6. We're going to go ahead and put them into the canner. Again, they're not hot. So we're just going to load them in here. I would have liked to have had 7. But you know, it's okay. I'm just going to space them out. And there we have our 6 jars. Now we'll go ahead and get the lid onto this. You want to push down a little bit, they say, so that you get a good seal. That's definitely a good seal. Isn't it beautiful? Now we wait, let it come up to enough pressure where the valve will steam. We let it steam out for 10 minutes before we put on our weight. Now my altitude here is 10 to 11 pounds of pressure. So I have set my little weight that came with this to 10 pounds of pressure. With this canner, you have these little rings that are on it. If they're all on here, that's 15 pounds of pressure. You take one off, you got 10 pounds of pressure. If I was to take off the other ring, this would only be 5 pounds of pressure. So again, for my altitude, my elevation, 10 to 11 pounds of pressure. So this is all I'm going to need. So again, we let it vent for 10 minutes and then we'll add our weight. So I moved the canner over to the other burner. This is the instruction book that came with the canner. I have read this cover to cover. I took the past 3 days to read this book to make sure I knew exactly what I was doing. I am also following the guidelines of the USDA to the letter. I will be processing this at the right amount of time that the USDA does specify. Now, even though this was brand new out of the box, before I washed it, I went ahead and I inspected the gasket, everything under the lid, the seal, everything, to make sure that there was no cracks, no chips, no anything, because I wanted it to be in perfect condition. Wanted to make sure that that seal was 100% okay. Everything checked out fine. So that's when I washed the canner, and now we are using it. So now it has been venting for 10 minutes. We're going to go ahead and put on our weight. 10-pound weight. Going to go ahead Okay, so now you can see that the airlock is up, and the main thing is this is now rocking gently, which is what we want. So now we're going to set our timer 90 minutes. Gotta love it. So when this is done processing, after the 90 minutes, we turn everything off, let it completely cool down on its own. Do not take off the weight, nothing, just leave it sit. Once the airlock has went back down and you know it's completely cool, then you remove the weight. So when it's done, completely cool and time to open, we'll be back. Time is up. So now we're just going to turn it off and let it be. Cool down begins. Okay, so while we're waiting for this to cool down, which is going to take a long time for that to cool, because you figure it got hot enough in there to actually kill botulism. So that's pretty darn hot. So while that's cooling down, I'm going to wash some more jars, get ready for the second batch, and later we'll do the reveal of this one. And I will not conclude the video until I have all of my corned beef completed, so you can see how much I have for how many pounds. I had 8 corned beef briskets, decided to put one back into the freezer. I can't stand still, I'm so excited, but we gotta wait. Okay, so it's been, I guess about 45 minutes. The airlock has closed. The overpressure plug is closed. Not sure if you can see it. Overpressure plug, airlock. So now they say to take off the weight, and we let it set for 10 minutes. It's the moment of truth. Time to open it up, see how they turned out. So it's been 10 minutes. We're going to unlock it, take the lid off, tilting it away from our face. Tilt it away. Believe me, it is extremely hot. Set the lid down over here, out of the way. One thing's for sure, it smells wonderful. It just smells wonderful. And they're already starting to pop in there a little. So we'll get out our first jar. Oh my goodness. Look at that. You can see they're still boiling. Perfectly normal. I'm gonna set it over here. Oh, there goes one sealing already. Oh, listen to them over there. They're popping, and that's a good thing. That's such a good thing. So there we have it. They look really good. I'm thinking that this little bit of red right here is from the corned beef itself, even though we did give it a little bit of a rinse before we cut it in pieces. Naturally, corned beef has so much of that brine into it. I think that's probably what it is, and probably going to turn into a fat layer there when it's done, or after it's all cooled. But they look beautiful to me. So in the canning pot, there was a little bit of leakage from one or two of the jars, whatever, because the water is a little mucky, and that's okay. They said that's to be expected. So what it's going to do, of course, is lower the juice content of the jar, but it's still perfectly okay as long as they seal. Right now I'm looking, it looks to me like 5 of them have already sealed. This one back here still hasn't yet, but I think it will. We'll keep an eye on it. Okay, so for now, I'm going to go ahead and clean the pot, like I said, get it ready for tomorrow. It's almost 6 o'clock, so I'm not going to process the rest of it today. I will do it tomorrow. And I will be back then, after everything is completed, tell you exactly how many pounds all this corned beef was, and see exactly how many jars we get out of it. It just popped. There's the 6th one. So all of them have sealed. So I'll let these cool overnight, process the rest tomorrow, and be right back with you to give you the grand totals. Okay, so these are the first ones. These are the ones I did yesterday. They're cool. I've washed the jars on the outside to make sure all the grease and the spillage was cleaned off real well. You can tell which ones kind of leaked a little bit just because of the water lines that I have, but it's perfectly fine this way. So like I said, these are the 6 that I did yesterday. Brand new out of the canner. Oh, still very hot. Still bubbling. So I managed to get 4 more quarts, 1 pint, and absolutely no spillage this time at all. Everything is very clean, including the water inside the pot. Much better than yesterday's. So what do I think of this Presto Pressure Canner? I give it the fancy. What can I say? It has done a beautiful job. I am so happy to be able to have gotten one finally. This is going to get a lot more use, trust me, a lot more use. I have many plans for this. Okay, so what is the grand total of all of this beautiful canned corned beef? All in total, I ended up doing 7 of the briskets. As I said, I put 1 back into the freezer, decided to go with 7 instead of 8. The 7 briskets totaled 23.33 pounds. And I managed to get 10 quarts and 1 pint. Now all of this corned beef I bought back in March when it was all on sale for St. Patrick's Day. I got some before St. Patrick's Day, went back and got a little bit more after St. Patrick's Day. Been in the freezer all this time. So it's great to have the extra freezer space now because it's all been cleared out. Now if I would have did all pint-sized jars, I would have ended up with 21 pints. The first set of jars, I also packed the meat in as tight as I possibly could. The second time, the ones I did today, I packed them in tight, but I didn't really press them in there. So I left a little bit more room. That's why there's just not as much in there. But like I said, regardless, 10 quarts, 1 pint, or 21 pints if you were going to use all pint jars, which I would have if I would have had them, but I didn't have that many pint jars. Also, when I processed the second batch today, they say for corned beef, quart jars you process for 90 minutes, pint-sized jars you do for 75 minutes. I only had the 1 pint. I was not going to chance putting it in there all by itself. So when I processed them today, I went ahead and put them all in there, the quarts and the 1 little pint, and I did them all for 90 minutes. And the pint turned out just as beautiful as the quarts. So I don't think the extra 15 minutes is going to hurt by any means whatsoever. So that's it, garden maters. I am extremely blessed to have been able to get this canner, especially for the price that I was able to get it at. If you already have a pressure canner, I am sure that you know the remarkable difference that it can make to your pantry. But for people like me who are just getting it for the first time, you just get so excited. So this little new toy is going to be used quite a bit, and like I say, I have a lot more plans for it. So that's about it. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask below. I will do my best to answer anything I can. Of course, I'm by far no expert, but I will definitely do what I can. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. I love to have you as part of the community. So until next time, love y'all. Take care. God bless. And I'll see you on the next video. Wait. Why do you always look at me when I'm doing this? You confuse me, Shmoo. Ignore the Shmoo. This is what I look at every time when I'm filming. Hello, Shmoo. This is every time I film. There is my Shmoo. Hey, before you were staring at me. Hello, I see you looking at me there, Shmoo. My audience.